What's up, you guys? Welcome back. We're here for an epic battle where we're going to imagine the most iconic clashes between legendary characters. Today, we're pitting two master sorcerers against each other: Loki, the god of mischief, and Skeletor, the lord of destruction. Let's dive into their similarities and see which of these two evil villains would emerge victorious. So starting with Skeletor, he was born into a mixed-race family. His mother was an alien Gar, kind of a space elf, and his father was a human. King Miro, the grandfather of He-Man. Skeletor, at that point known as Keldor, always felt like an outcast. He was blue, everyone else wasn't. He eventually was rejected by his family and began his life of being, a criminal at first. Just a kind of a thief, stealing. Eventually his paths crossed with Hordak, a space alien warlord who needed to recruit someone inherently gifted with magic. He knew that as a Gar, Skeletor would be more gifted with magic and offered him the Havoc Staff, promising him that it would amplify his innate magical abilities and that it would make him more powerful than ever. Hordak himself is similar to the father figure that Keldor never had. So he trusted Hordak and took the Havoc Staff. It did grant him the power, also melted away his face and corrupted his soul, turning him into Skeletor. Having amplified power from the Havoc Staff, he wages a war of attrition against the masters of the universe. Moving on to Loki, his story is somewhat similar to Skeletor's. Born to frost giants who rejected him, was taken in by Odin and his family and loved as their own son. Eventually, Loki discovers that he is a frost giant and not actually Asgardian, and feels that he is not loved equally with the other son in the family, Thor. He seeks an alternative father figure in Thanos. Thanos, as well, being a space alien warlord, offering Loki a magical artifact, the Tesseract, to amplify his powers. Very similar to Skeletor in a lot of ways. Using this artifact, he becomes more powerful and wages a war against Asgard and against Earth and the other 9 realms that are under the protection of Asgard. So what would happen if these two sorcerers ever crossed paths? Would they unite and work together? In some ways, there is a pretty strong argument that they might. But assuming that they didn't see eye to eye, who would emerge victorious in a confrontation? Loki controls interdimensional travel. He's able to bring an army of Thanos to the Earth, also able to time travel with the help of various magical artifacts, adjusting his fate and the fate of those around him. He can turn invisible and warp in and out of the physical world, changing his appearance. He's often mimicked Thor's appearance or other beings' appearances. He could mimic the appearance of Skeletor and gain advantage over his armies. A weakness is his indecisiveness. He hates his family, but he also loves them and appreciates all that they have done for him. He struggles to be decisive. Everything he does, on the one hand, to hurt his family, he often immediately undoes, on the other hand, to save his family. Skeletor is also able to manipulate interdimensional space. So doing, he summons the Snake Men, King Hiss, also with the help of magical artifacts, but it's within his ability, if he has the correct magical artifact, to be able to do this. He also uses interdimensional travel, magical manipulation to connect with Hordak initially, giving him the ability to amplify his power by receiving the Havoc Staff. Skeletor also possesses the power of necromancy, able to raise undead armies, summon evil spirits, conjuring an army is a very distinct advantage that Skeletor has over Loki. Loki can negotiate with an existing army or display an illusionary army for trickery or guile, but he does not possess the power to create an undead army as Skeletor does. Also, Skeletor has very little in the way of attachment or love. He isn't undecisive. He knows what he wants. The possible exception for attachment would be Evil Lyn. He does seem to display some affection for her, but is very quick to dispatch her when she betrays him, or at least attempt to dispatch her without hesitating or second-guessing himself. A disadvantage is that he is more deceivable than Loki is. He has been tricked. He has been manipulated before. This could be an area where Loki could be victorious over Skeletor. So if these two sorcerers were to clash, who would emerge victorious? If Loki could control his emotions and focus his intentions and not lack conviction, he might be able to outsmart Skeletor by shapeshifting into him or confusing his armies. However, if Loki's indecisiveness gets the better of him, Skeletor's sheer power and ability to raise an army of undead warriors would likely give him the upper hand. Thanks for joining me on this epic battle between Loki and Skeletor. Who do you think would win a real fight between these two?